Okay, so in this video, I'm going to be covering the age-old debate of whether or not you're going to make more money buying a house in Vancouver versus the Fraser Valley. So jumping right into the charts here, I have Vancouver, and then I picked a halfway point, which is Surrey, and then Abbotsford, and I have the pricing charts all overlaid here. And as you can see, back in March of 2009, Vancouver took off and far outpaced the Fraser Valley as far as returns go. However, come 2021, you can see that the Valley made a lot of headway and for the most part closed a lot of that gap between Vancouver and the Valley just in a couple years. Okay, so starting off with detached, I got some notes here and I picked the starting point from May 2008 for no particular reason, just it was a landmark time in history, so that's why I chose 2008. But as you can see, a detached home in Vancouver at that time was basically 1.1, in Surrey you're 489, and in Abbotsford you're 417,000. Current day, 2.614 million in Vancouver, 1.51 in Surrey, and 1.207 in Abbotsford. So if you calculate the gains between these home prices, in May of 2008, a Vancouver detached was worth 2.23 times more than Surrey. It was worth 2.63 times more than Abbotsford. Current day now, 17 years later, almost, Vancouver detached is only worth 1.73 times more than Surrey and 2.17 times more than Abbotsford. So over that 17 years, a detached home in Surrey got 0.5 times closer, 0.5 times closer, and Abbotsford got 0.46 times closer to a Vancouver detached. So the Surrey detached home closed that gap by 22%, and the Abbotsford detached home closed that gap by 17%. So detached homes outperformed in the Valley versus Vancouver about 22% or 17% better. Now on to townhomes. In May of 2008, you had Vancouver at $598K, $313,000 for Surrey, and $265,000 for Abbotsford. Fast forward to current day, and as you can see, townhomes have been performing very well in Vancouver, just kind of steadily making new higher lows and new higher highs. But current day, 1.342 million in Vancouver, 827,000 in Surrey, and 653,000 in Abbotsford. So if we break down those numbers, a Vancouver townhome was worth 1.91 times more than Surrey's and 2.25 times more than Abbotsford. Fast forward to today, only 1.62 times more than Surrey and 2.05 times more than Abbotsford. So a Surrey townhome closed that gap by 15%, appreciated 15% better, and an Abbotsford townhome only 8.8% better. Now, if you graph that out over 17 years, that's really nothing. Like that is less than 1% per year for Surrey townhomes and about 0.5% for Abbotsford townhomes. Now, this is where things start to get a little bit interesting, and I'm gonna give you some of my own opinions of why all of this is in a little bit here. But when we go to condos, 382,000 in May of 2008 for Vancouver, 190,000 in Surrey, and 159,000 in Abbotsford. Fast forward to today, 778 in Vancouver, 562,000 in Surrey, and 440,000 in Abbotsford. So in May of 2008, a Vancouver condo was worth 2 times more than Surrey, 2.38 times more than Abbotsford, and in current day, a condo in Vancouver would be worth 1.38 times more than Surrey and 1.76 times more than Abbotsford. And they both close that gap by 0.62 times, which is 31% closer for Surrey and 26% closer for Abbotsford. So that's how much they close that gap by over a 17-year period. So condos in the Valley have far outperformed Vancouver over the last 17 years. Now, the reason being is you can see that basically condos in Vancouver haven't really done much since March of 2018. And I'm going to give you my thesis on why this is in a minute here. But first, I'm going to go back to townhomes. 8.8% in Abbotsford versus 15% in Surrey is really nothing. And I'm sure I could pinpoint other times in this timeline where, like, let's just say I started this from 2006 or all the way back here in 2005, or I took the price here in 2010. Vancouver townhomes may have actually outperformed from that date. Right? So I think the most important thing is the timing of when you bought this. What did you buy and when did you buy it? Because they're so close over that time period that it's really hard to say that unless I went through in every single month of every single year and did that calculation for everything, it's very hard to make a determination that if you bought a townhome in the Fraser Valley, it would have outperformed Vancouver indefinitely, no matter when you bought this, right? And if you look at detached is kind of similar to condos, but you have to go all the way back to 2016. Detached homes in Vancouver are pretty much the same price they were 9 years ago. Why is that? Well, I think it has to do with the foreign buyers tax that they implemented somewhere in this time frame. I can't remember the exact date, but a lot of who was buying these luxury homes, higher priced homes in Vancouver at this time were foreign buyers. So after that tax got implemented, that took out a lot of the demand that was buying into the detached market in Vancouver. So I think if that tax actually never got implemented, you would probably see that detached homes, again, just like townhomes in Vancouver, probably would have performed very similarly to, detached homes in the Fraser Valley. Now, why is it that specifically condos have performed so much better in the Valley? Now, people in Vancouver may not like my thesis on this, but I think condo buyers are a lot more sensitive to local incomes because most of the people buying condos are mom and pop investors, or they're a first-time home buyer getting in their first home and all these types of things. And there seems to be some type of a ceiling around $750,000, right? Like it's very hard to buy a $750,000 home if you're a first-time home buyer. And that is why, in my opinion, there's been very little growth in the condo market. And I actually think that if you're buying a condo in the Fraser Valley, it's probably going to continue to outperform Vancouver because we are nowhere near that $700,000 threshold in the Fraser Valley. Surrey has another $200,000 to go. Abbotsford has another $300,000 to go. However, once you get into the detached market, the townhome market, that is more of I guess they're all end user markets, but it's more of a market where you're going to have people with equity buying into those types of products, right? And when you have equity, the local incomes become less important, right? Because if a home is worth $2 million, but you're putting down $1.5 million, well, now you don't need 400 grand income or whatever you would need. Now you only need the 100 grand or the $90,000 income to be able to service that debt because you're putting down so much equity. So people are buying condos, they're paying down their mortgages, they've got some appreciation, or they're getting down payments from parents and gifted down payments and all these things. And they're buying into the townhome market and the detached market that isn't as susceptible to that potentially invisible price ceiling that the condo market seems to be hitting over and over. So my overall thesis here, and again, it really depends where you're buying in this timeline. It's very difficult for me to say the Fraser Valley, hands down, blanket statement, outperforms Vancouver. However, that's what the last 17 years says. That being said, there's no guarantee that the townhome market seems to be performing better than the Fraser Valley right now, that this isn't going to continue to happen and you'd be better off buying a townhome in Vancouver. And if you look at detached in Vancouver, again, it seems to be performing a lot better than the Fraser Valley. So there's no guarantee that this won't outperform the Fraser Valley. However, if you're buying a condo, I do believe that condos in the Fraser Valley will continue to outperform Vancouver just because the local incomes do not support a $900,000 condo. At least that is my thesis. And if you think I'm wrong, which you guys usually do, you're more than welcome to leave a comment telling me I'm an idiot like you usually do. But if you think I'm right, it is nice to get some nice comments sometimes. So if you enjoyed this video, please do subscribe. If you want to chat with me about buying or selling in the Valley, you can use the booking link down in the description. Otherwise, appreciate the people who are nice and leave nice comments. Please subscribe. We'll see you on the next one. I'm that Agent Kelly. I'm making moves to move you. Peace.